right, if you have not done so already, please pause this video. Make sure everybody gets registered for this week's WIN sessions, and then go ahead and hit play again. I want to start this month again with our land acknowledgement, to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded land of the Wapekute, the Dakota, and the Sioux people. Unceded means that the people who lived here, worshiped here, ate and drank and slept and loved and lived and died on this land did not agree to leave this land. They were forcibly removed from this land. I ask you to join me in acknowledging their communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We also acknowledge that we were founded upon exclusions and erasures of many Indigenous peoples, including those on whose land this institution is located. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. We're going to talk about that more today because November is National Native American Heritage Month. An important piece of what was destroyed when the indigenous communities who lived on this land were removed, they lost very important pieces of their spirituality, very important pieces of their food culture and housing culture, and they also lost their language. And I should say, not lost, but their language was forcibly taken from them. And in most tribes, continuing to speak your indigenous language was enough to get you removed from your family or imprisoned or even killed. So in November, we not only recognize and remember the heritage of Native American people, living and deceased, but also the languages and all of the ways of knowing the world that are lost when you lose a language. So there is a sculpture at the Walker Sculpture Garden. It's called Oksiapi, which means help each other. And you will hear in the video we're about to watch a little bit about both what this sculpture is, and also you'll hear much better Dakota pronunciations than I can do as we talk about the importance of holding on to this language and these words.
One thing that's so incredible about artists is they're able to delve into these deep places and touch on topics that sometimes can't translate into words. And they're able to do that through form and color and share that personal experience with the audience. For me, that's where healing happens, to know that you're not alone. My name is Angela Two Stars. I am an enrolled member of the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate. I am a public artist, visual artist. A lot of my work has been leaning towards this element of healing. I think it's part of my own personal journey of healing that I've been undergoing since I moved here to Minnesota. I actually grew up on a reservation in the northeast corner of South Dakota, the Lake Traverse Reservation. So when I came to Minnesota, I applied for the opportunity for that public art project at Bde-Makaska, and it was serendipitous because the work that it was honoring was Machpiawi Chasta, which is Cloud Man, and he just so happens to be my great-great-great-grandfather. Dakota people were exiled from the state of Minnesota back after the uprising of 1862, and so for me, it was kind of a coming home after over 150 years of being in exile, and there was this reconnection with the land and feeling like I belonged here. The transition stage is a temporary installation brought together by Pangeo World Theater, the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, and also Longfellow Rising, which is a neighborhood community project that will be installed at the corner of Lake Street and Minnehaha. It's a response to what the neighborhood has gone through in the past year. Over a year ago, after the murder of George Floyd, people were taken to the streets protesting, and the third precinct was burned down. There was multiple businesses that were destroyed. I was asked to create an artwork that would show how they are in this transition state as they're about to relaunch, rebuild, heal, and to have an artwork that reflected all of that momentum that they're moving towards as a community. And it's also a work that is the community's voice. We invited, anybody that was present, that was walking by, to come and write on a strip of vinyl, sharing their hopes and reflections and laments as they heal from what they've experienced in the past year, which was very traumatic. Those hopeful writings will then be woven into a cocoon frame with a wire meshing. And so this cocoon is a vessel for the community's growth and healing and rebuilding their neighborhood. I've been on what I call a language journey. The Dakota language has gone through a decline because of impacts of colonization. It was brought to my attention in 2014 that my tribe had less than 70 fluent speakers remaining. And as an artist, I was searching for my voice at the time. And so I figured that could be the way I can help the Dakota languages through my platform as an artist. The new installation that I've created for the Walker Art Center is called Okjiapi, and it's a structural seating that is inspired by my grandfather, Orson Bernard, and his work in language revitalization. When he passed away in 2018, we didn't just lose him as a person, we also lost his language knowledge. So it was like a double blow to our family, to our tribe. I remember thinking about how one drop of water can ripple across an entire pond. One Dakota language speakers' knowledge can ripple across generations of speakers. And so that then became the visual of it's got to look like a ripple. Learning a language is an active process. So I want people to engage and activate in my works. They can touch it, they can be in it, they can run around. There will be Dakota language phrases incorporated on enamel metal. There will also be audio from fluent Dakota speakers. The Dakota language is an oral language, and so for me, it was really important that people hear it being spoken in the space. Minnesota is a Dakota word, Minishota Makoche, and kind of reminding the audience that comes in to see it is that, we all speak a little Dakota here in Minnesota. Growing up on a reservation, I didn't have access to art institutions like the Walker. So to me, to be able to be part of that, to be the first Dakota woman to have a permanent art piece in the sculpture garden right next to the Spoon Ridge and Cherry, that's pretty incredible. I want Native people that come to this space to see themselves, to feel welcome, to see their language and their identities reflected in this space, because a lot of Native American experience is, not being seen, not being acknowledged. What gives me hope is that for my grandmother, the language was painful. And yet for me, what I'm sharing with my children is the language is joyful. Learning the language and reconnecting with my culture and sharing that with the audience is what's helping me break those chains of trauma.
So we all do speak a little Dakota here. As she said, in addition to Minishota Makoche, the original name of Minnesota, so many of the names of places around where we live here and actually where we are today are Dakota words. Anoka, Chanhassen, Chaska, Matamitai, Mankato, Mendota, Minnehaha, Minnetonka, Owatonna, Shakopee, Wayzata, Winona, all Dakota names. And so because this language is all around us, to remind us that this land is not ours, that this land was cared for and curated and loved and lived on by people who did not agree to leave this land. We also want to honor the values that the original dwellers of this land built their community around. So the next thing you're going to do is go to your Canvas course. I want you, your advisory course, you're going to, and this can be fairly quick. You don't need to spend more than a few minutes doing this. But what I want you to do is there's a list of the Dakota word and then the English translation of that word. These are all words that you will see on the sculpture if and when your family goes to visit the sculpture garden. So love, bravery, wisdom, compassion, and truthfulness. Think about a person that is important to you, living or dead, famous or someone who is an intimate part of your life, and think about a value that that person shows you. You're going to click on one of those words, maybe love, maybe bravery, maybe truthfulness, and I want you to either briefly, quickly, again, draw something or grab a screenshot of something that you can pull into it that symbolizes something about this person or this value. So you might pick, if I chose the word love, I might pick plate of chocolate chip cookies, which was one of my mom's favorite things to make. And the word love always makes me think of my mom. And I try to live the way she lived love in the world is something that daily inspires me. So I might choose the word love and put a picture of a plate of chocolate chip cookies on mine. So go do that. And then the next slide after this video is the circle question. So go into your Canvas course, and then you're going to pull up this slide. And in your circle, you're just going to share the word you chose, something about the person you were thinking about, maybe their relationship to you, my grandma, maybe something they've done that made you think of this word for them. And we'll just do a quick share out of the value and the person that we're bringing into the room that embodies that value.